Alright, welcome back everyone to another Draft League video. We're here for a new Draft League that I'm participating in. Didn't mean to participate in this league. Last time I played in this league was in Season 5, where I won the league. But we're back, replacing for my good friend Rai. He got annihilated, unfortunately, and dropped the league, so gotta replace his sorry ass. If you watched this TDT MVP video, which you guys should go do that, I'll link it in the description. He gave us a shout out there about covering his trick house season. So here I am. I'll cover the first 2 weeks that I've played so far, weeks 3 and weeks 4, but bit tough. I started with replacing an 0-2 team, so we basically would probably have to go 5-1 or 4-2 with a good differential split to cover Rai's -6 differential that he gave us, but we'll do what we can with the tools that he left us. So you can see on the screen, these are the 16 participating coaches. We've had some replacements so far, including myself. I believe Cookie replaced for Shadow as well, and I don't know if anyone else replaced or not, but yeah. So this was Rai's original team. Originally, I think he had TERA Iron Bundle, then he swapped it to Sneasler, if I'm not mistaken. But he has Iron Bundle, TERA Sneasler, Enamorus, Cyclizar, Rotom Wash, Donphan, Overquill, which I don't know how the doc is registering Overquill like that, but that is spelled incorrectly. L-Doc, Bronzong, TERA Crocalor, and Pincurchin. I did not like this team. Some people said they liked this team. I did not like this team. Iron Bundle is 19 points. If it's not TERA, why are you using it? That's such a waste of 19 points. Yeah, I made a lot of changes after this, but yeah, for the most part, with this current team of 10, I kept 3 Mons total. I kept Enamorus, I kept Cyclizar, I kept Rotom Wash. I did not want to use TERA Sneasler. There was another set of Mons I wanted to use TERA on. That I wanted to try out. Bundle, I think, is a fraud without TERA, and it's not worth 19 points. I don't really like Donphan too much. Overquill's fine, but I kind of just went with a different direction. And Bronzong's pretty decent as like a fairy pivot, but felt like I wanted to use a different set of steel types, and then the last two don't exist. So I transformed his team into this team. So this was my week 3 matchup versus Masskeau. But as you can see, I kept Enamorus, and I picked up TERA Iron Hands. I kept Cyclizar, I picked up Ursaluna, I kept Rotom Wash, and then I picked up TERA Revavroom, which is still 6 points, which is ridiculous. Hydreigon, Klefki, and Arcanine. So this is kind of the team I was rocking with. I had infinite transactions. I kind of just wanted to use TERA Hands, Ursaluna, and Rev. That was mainly it. Enamorus is cool, but without TERA, it's kind of it's matchup dependent, I feel. It'll still be able to do something, but if they have a pretty solid like Fairy Resist, especially with good Revengers, the speed tier is kind of off a little bit sometimes. It could be a bit tough. And unfortunately for us, we pulled like 2 pretty bad Enamorus matchups, so we'll make do. So this was the matchup I had. My opponent had TERA Regieleki, which is pretty scary. Urshifu Single Strike, Azu, Hisuzoro, Corv, Landowai, Mew, Salazzle, Terragogo. From what I saw in his previous replay, like against, I think in week 2 or something, he brought kind of just screens, HO, but I think for the most part he's gonna be pretty reliant on his positioning for his offense, and I feel like he'd be willing to make doubles when necessary. So there's just something to look out for, but we'll briefly cover what my build is. So we brought TERA Fairy Iron Hands with leftovers, basically max defense but adamant with some speed investment for Azu, Drain Punch, Terra Blast, Swords Dance, Protect, and then Arcanine, we brought Intimidate, Heavy Duty Boots, Flare Blitz, Extreme Speed, Agility, Morning Sun. Bear in mind, when I made these teams, I kind of just talked it through with like a friend and then kind of just left it as is. I figure I could extreme speed and revenge things like Aleki, Azu, Ursh, Mew, basically anything with extreme speed, so it'd be pretty decent. And then agility, if I got to an end game, I could just Flare Blitz basically everything remaining, and then Azu would be the only thing that could potentially revenge me, but I have a way of trying to wear down Azu pretty quickly. Scarf Cyclizar outspeeds Aleki, needs something. Running Double Edge, Knockoff, Rapid Spin, Shed Tail. I'm not running Max Attack because it didn't change really much any KOs for the most part. Plus, I wanted Shed Tail HP investment at the very least to be like semi-decent into like Rotom Wash or something if I needed to use it that way. Yeah, no U-turn because my friend freaked me out that he might bring like Spike's Mew, so I brought Rapid Spin. Helmet Keys, this is my Aussie pivot. Can also work versus Urshifu as well, just depending. Steel Beam, Gleam, Spikes, Light Screen. Kind of just not. I brought Steel Beam, so I'm not fodder versus like setup Mew, or even like setup like any other type of setup really for the most part. Light Screen was pretty good for Aleki as well. Brought Rotom Wash with Citrus Berry, Spadef. This is mainly for Lando, but it can also take hits from the Aleki. Light Screen again, Plot, Hydro, Discharge. Pretty decent set. Light Screen's pretty effective versus his team, as TERA Hand should be able to take on Urshifu and Azu. And then Citrus Berry, Ursaluna with Bulletproof, so I can't get Focus Blasted by Focus Blast Lando. This is just my Aleki pivot, Body Slam, Fire Punch, Bulk Up Taunt. The Corv is really annoying, so I'll just have to make do with that. But this was basically the team. I wasn't super confident going into the game because his team was pretty offensive and he had decent speed tiers versus me. And yeah, and it was kind of hard to pinpoint exactly what he would bring. So I kind of just had to go with it. I wasn't sure if he'd bring like Terra Ice or Terra Fighting on Aleki, but I would know at preview. I really wanted to run Troupple Berry on Ursaluna though, because it covered both Terra Fighting, Aleki, and Urshifu. But yeah, so that was our team. Here's the preview. He ended up not bringing the Corviknight, the Hisuzoro, and the Yo-Go. So no Corv is pretty good for me. I figured most people I've seen bring Corviknight against my type of teams don't bring it because I usually have something to punish Corviknight in some capacity. I guess Rotom Wash in this case, but Enamorus, I assume he probably has like Scarf Salazzle or something to kind of revenge that, or maybe yeah, something like that. I don't know. It could be like a bulky Salazzle. He has to watch out for Earth Power though. But yeah, everything else seems relatively standard to me. No Hisuzoros, pretty decent as well. No shenanigans going around with like his Regieleki, which he had been utilizing. So yeah, why don't we just hop into the game? You can see at preview here. Obviously, you can't see the sprites with the replay, but I'm Terra Fairy on my hands, and his Terra is Aleki, and you can see it's Ice. So at least it's not fighting, but Ice. It was either going to be Ice or fighting, in my opinion. I lead Cyclizar, click Shed Tail here, mainly because I wanted to see what he clicked. He clicked Close Combat into me, so I get my hands in for free to Terra, which is basically what I wanted to do. Here was a kind of a weird play. I wanted to go for Drain Punch. I wasn't sure exactly what he was going to pivot into. He knew I was Terra Fairy, so he probably went into Salazzle because he quad resist, but I wanted to Drain Punch because I wanted more chip damage on this. And you'll see that will come into play later. But I decided not to Drain Punch because I didn't know exactly what his pivot was going to be. It could have been like a defensive Mew, could have been some type of could have went Azu, for example. So I was like, well, Terra Blast is kind of free versus all of that. I really don't think he should go Salazzle because I feel like he doesn't know exactly what I'm carrying. And I could easily Earthquake as well. Like, he doesn't know what coverage I have on this in particular. So I felt like going Salazzle was a bit risky. Maybe he felt like he didn't need it anymore because there was no Enamorus or something. But I just felt like it was a bit risky, but it made sense because he probably expected just the fighting move or fairy move, but it worked out for him. I get less chip on this, which is pretty bad for me later on, but yeah, I decided to just go into my Rotom. Clicks Fire Blast and misses, which is semi-okay. It doesn't let me scout like what his offensive investment or his item is, so I kind of just have to play around that. I set up a light screen, and then I go Clef Key to get my helmet chip on Azu, set up spikes. He has Landorus, so I end up going my Rotom Wash, and I don't want to take this hit, so I go into my keys. Get some Rocky Helmet Chip, because I figured he might click U-turn or Poison Jab, trying to predict my Iron Hand, so I went to keys as a middle ground. Plus it gave me Rocky Helmet Chip, which put it lower down, especially if I need to try and win like Scarf Cyclizar Double Edge at the end. But he gets in his Mew. I'm not sure what the Mew's going to click. I could be running like Foul Play or something. Highly doubt though. I could Steel Beam as well, or I can just hard out and go into something like Ursaluna, or yeah, it's really tough. I do wish I brought something a little bit more into the Mew, but you'll see here that I go for Light Screen actually, because I was really afraid of him being like Calm Mind or something, or Plot, because I didn't really have a whole lot to revenge him with outside of Cyclizar. But he ends up being SD, so bit annoying. Had I gone for just Steel Beam, probably would have just been better. As you can see, he'll knock me out here with an Earthquake. And then we go Ursaluna here. The reason I didn't go into my hands is because I needed it healthy for Urshifu. And again, I have no idea what his coverage is. He could have had Gunk Shot for all I know. So I went to Ursaluna kind of to see what his first click would be. If he was running like close combat, he would take like a defense drop or something. But for the most part, I figured he might be Lung. So I was just trying to go for Body Slam, hope for a para, and if he wasn't Lung, that's great for me. You can see Psychic Fangs did nothing, and we do get a para. He synchronizes it, but he is not Lumberry, so that's good for us. He goes for close combat. I considered saving it and going into my Arcanine, but I didn't know if he would click, like what he would click there in particular, and I didn't know how invested he was, so I didn't want to risk going Arcanine and just dying. So now I go Arcanine here, and I can just go for the Flare Blitz since he's -1, and I'll kill him. And at this point, I thought maybe he might go like Azu or something, or maybe Landorus, but he decides to go Lecky here, probably just to get a free Volt Switch off. I can just stay in. I considered maybe Morning Sunning here, but I have no idea exactly like what his pivot is going to be. It probably is going to be Landorus or something. But I just ended up going for Flare Blitz because I need chip damage on Landorus if I want to try win with like Double Edge endgame, so I kind of just need chip on everything. So I figured I'd just go for that. I save it because I want to save the Extreme Speed if possible for the endgame. But I just go into my Rotom here. I am Citrus Berry, and he goes for Focus Blast. Obviously my Citrus Berry pops as I go for Hydro Pump, and he's dead. And he decides to go into Urshifu here as I just decide to go into my hands as he goes for a U-turn. That's obviously choice banded, by the way. I figured that out with the keys chip earlier, but I decided to go for a Protect because I figured he wouldn't be sub with what he had, and I'm kind of thinking he might be Scarfed because of, like, I don't know, maybe he was afraid of Scarf Enamorus or something of some kind, but he brought Salazzle. I'm thinking it's Scarfed because it did take the spikes damage earlier. So yeah, I go into my Arcanine. I end up sacking this. I don't preserve the Extreme Speed, mainly because I was afraid of him being like Specs Salazzle. Because again, I don't know if it's Specs or Scarf. But if he's Specs, then I probably lose. But at least I know like Cyclizar can at least damage this. But based off the Terra Blast damage, he might actually be like, he looks like he's pretty bulky, so my Double Edge might not even kill. It might be a damage roll. It might not even kill at all. So that's why I wish I went for Drain Punch. It would have done better damage into this, and obviously it's what I clicked originally before I figured he wouldn't go into Salazzle, so I clicked Terra Blast, and then of course he went into Salazzle. So I just have to play off of and see if like exactly what his item is. I know I switched out I switched out hands before, but I go Rotom here and I click Discharge. I didn't want to click Hydro Pump because I didn't want to miss, but Hydro Pump into this would have been obviously better, but I figured he might just T-Bolt or something, so I end up going for Light Screen, as you can see here, but he goes for Rapid Spin, which is pretty annoying because he gets a free spin off, which is, and obviously he's not going to Terra in case I like Discharge Para him or T-Wave or something, but now he's faster than Scarf Cyclizar, so I kind of have to just attack into him and hope I can kill him. Obviously with him going for Rapid Spin, my Light Screen makes me, and my Spidef makes me able to take the Thunderbolts pretty well, and as you can see, he's incapable of two-shotting with T-Bolt, so he's forced to Volt Switch. Aleki's pretty low, and I get a Para here with Urshifu. Now, I figure with the slow Urshifu, he might just click Sucker Punch or U-Turn. I didn't really want to lose the sack on Rotom, but in hindsight, I probably should have just, with the Light Screen up, I probably should have just stayed in with Rotom. But I was like, oh, in case he Sucker Punch. But then I was like, yeah, I really should have just stayed in with Rotom, because if I died, I could have gotten hands in behind, you know, the Light Screen turn or something. So yeah, not the best entirely, but he does go for U-Turn, which is annoying. But he gets an Aleki, but I still have the Light Screen up, so it's not too bad, and I should be able to chew that up. As I just go for the Drain Punch here, and I get my nice little HP back, and I obviously still have Protect. So I should be able to get to near full here, but yeah, I probably should have clicked Protect there. I don't know why I didn't. That HP would have been semi decent, I felt. But yeah, so I sacked my Rotom here. I figured at this point I just had to commit to Double Edge, potentially killing this. I thought maybe he might go like Aleki or Azu or something, but I think at this point I expected the Aleki sack, so I just go for Double Edge, and as you can see, we kill Aleki, and then he decides to go into Azu here. So I can easily just go hands, but in the actual battle, I literally said he's probably gonna double to Salazzle, and I said I should just Double Edge into this. I don't know how fast the Azu is. Because if he stayed in and he was like bulky, then like hands probably had a chance to beat him in the end game if I was faster, because I could just Terra Blast into Drain Punch and then be out of range of like Sludge Bomb. But again, I have no idea if the Salazzle specs or Scarf or whatever. So I just double into my Iron Hands here, as he does make a double into Salazzle, like I said he would do. That's really unfortunate. And then this is where that Protect turn really didn't matter earlier, as I get to near full anyways, but the extra 1% could have been decently handy later on. But I figure at this point I have to see if he specs. If he specs, he wins anyways, for the most, and with like Azu and stuff. So I figured I'll just go Cyclizar here. Yeah, I Protect to see what he locks himself into if he is choice. If I go into Cyclizar here, I'm at full. And as you can see, we would have lived the Specs hit, but he does get a poison, so we would have died if he was Specs, but he is choice Scarf, or at least not Specs. And I know at this point I have to Double Edge. I figured he would just go hard Azu here, to kind of just scout what my, like me clicking Double Edge and I would die to like recoil and stuff. I guess he was afraid of me clicking U-Turn, so he actually makes a choke play by staying in. But since I'm not max attack, I do not kill the Salazzle, and that's where that Terra Blast versus Drain Punch turn comes in. Salazzle lives, and yeah, my only win con at this point is just hope I'm faster than Azu. So yeah, he goes for Sludge Bomb, so I go for Drain Punch, and now I'm at like 34%. I should be able to Protect versus Azu, because if he's like Bandit or something, he probably wins anyways, and if he's faster. but he is faster than me, so not the best. And that shows he has like absolutely no bulk, so he's just like max speed Azu. So yeah, my only win con here is seeing that it did 29%. I have to just get like a double protect and hope he gets like a similar roll, but we do not, so we end up losing the game 1-0. Very close, but yeah, kind of a tough game for me. I felt like I kind of outplayed myself, and then the double obviously happened with Salazzle. Had I just double edged, probably would have just won the game. So a bit unfortunate, but that's a hard read to make because he hadn't really made a double all game, even though I knew he was a pretty aggressive type of player and builder. I didn't want to make that read. So yeah, we start off with a loss. I think we're like 0-3 -7 now. So that goes into our week 4 game. As you can see, we play Rai-Cy. So yeah, same team still, but he has Spectre, TERA, Urshifu, Single Strike, so we play another Urshifu, but it's TERA this time. Galar Slowking, Azu, another Azu. Hate playing Azu again with this team. Tinglu, Thundurus Incarnate. He picked up the Bronzong that I dropped, Talonflame, Arboliva, and Terratropius. He definitely has the best team in the league just because he has Terratropius. That mon is the GOAT. And yeah. But looking at this matchup, it's just another Urshifu. I don't think Hands could be as effective versus Urshifu this time around like it was last time. Mainly because he's Terra, so he could be like Terra Poison. Especially if he's versus like the Namorous, he could take on the Terra Fairy Hands and stuff. Take hits from Revavroom. So a bit annoying if he has like Terra Poison or something. That's kind of what I expect going into this. Yeah, Azu is annoying as well. Tinglu I should be able to beat. Bronzong I'll have to wear down. Galar Slowking, if it's like I think I expected maybe more like a mixed defensive versus like an Amorous maybe. Or just like Black Sludge or Shookaberry, something like that. But yeah. Here, Revavroom, Terra Water, Filter, Lumberry for the Prankster T-Wave, Thundurus, and yeah, that was it. Gong Shot, Iron Head, Terra Blast, Shift Gear. Some HP investment, attack, speed, adamant. Cool. This is our win con or breaker. Probably both. Iron Hands, Pyapa Berry. I put Terra type Fairy on here. I'm really not going to Terra it at all. It's just there to make the Urshifu think and Terra. Close Combat, Wild Charge, Earthquake, Rock Slide. We have a lot of Spadef investment, attack investment, adamant, stuff like that, some speed. Mainly there to take like Psychic from Galar Slowking, as well as from Thundurus. I probably should have just ran Assault Vest because I ran 4 attacks anyways, but it's whatever. Like I said, I literally built this like 10 minutes before the actual game time, so this is the product that I'm gonna have. Enamorous, Rocky Helmet, Cute Charm, like max defense basically with speed. Draining Kiss, Earth Power, Iron Defense, Calm Mind. I really had nothing for Urshifu, so I just brought some like Sackmon for it, and I thought it'd be funny to bring it. I could also use it versus like Azu or something, or Talonflame. But yeah, this mon really doesn't do anything to Galar Slowking, so some fodder mon. I almost put Healing Wish, but I took it off because I figured it was gonna die as a sack anyways. Chesto Berry, Rotom Wash, Hydro Discharge, Rest, Nasty Plot, Chesto, Max Defense, basically there for Azu, can take on Tinglu as well. Ursaluna, now this is my favorite set outside of the like using Revavroom. Ursaluna's Leftovers, Guts with a lot of Spadef, HP, and some attack investment, Careful Nature, Body Slam, Crunch, Rest Talk. This is mainly my Spectra pivot. But yeah, Guts is actually pretty cool with Rest Talk because when you're asleep, you get a Guts boost. So when I'm sleeping, I can use a Guts boosted Body Slam and Crunch, and that hits basically everything. Crunch, the Spectre, the Bronzong, the Slowking, and then I Body Slam basically everything else. So it's actually a pretty good set. It's hard for him to switch into, and it's hard for him to kill outside of utilizing something like Azu or Urshifu. He can pivot into things like Ting-Lu, Galar Slowking, Bronzong not really if he's like body press and stuff. Spectre obviously, so that's mainly what it was there for. And then Scarf Hydreigon, Draco, Dark Pulse, U-Turn, Stealth Rocks. I expect kind of Azu to maybe be the pivot for it. Maybe it's like Assault Vest or something. So yeah, I mainly just wanted rocks. Yeah. And I just wanted to scarf her for like Spectre and stuff, so it was pretty decent. Yeah. I felt like I didn't need Flash Cannon, it didn't really hit anything. I didn't really need to hit Azu that much harder, since I could just wear it down. And then like I had a bunch of other mons that kind of just killed it. So yeah. So this is the matchup here. He brought Galar Slowking, Thundurus, Urshifu, Ting-Lu, Talonflame, and Bronzong. So he ended up benching the Spectre. Don't blame him, just because like Ursaluna hard walls it and it's really tough to muscle through. He benched Tropius, so you already know he's about to take the biggest L of his life for benching the GOAT. Arboliva, that mon's dog shit, so I'm not surprised he didn't bring that. And then I believe that was, what else did he bench? Oh, he benched Azu. Yeah, I was kind of shocked because Hydreigon looks pretty good otherwise, like especially depending on what his TERA is on Urshifu. But yeah, you'll see right away at preview. I'll pause it here. So when I got here at preview, I saw that his Urshifu was actually TERA Fairy. It's this fairy one right here. That's why he doesn't have Azu. So Hydreigon actually can't do anything to Urshifu. So I mean, I can Dark Pulse at some point, but it's really not going to do anything. So yeah, I kind of expect him maybe to lead with like Ting-Lu or something. So I just lead Hydreigon. It's just a Scarfer. If I can force Urshifu to TERA right away, that'd be nice too. So I just go for a U-turn here. If he was Scarfed, Focus Blast wouldn't kill me, which is what he clicks. If I was Assault Vest, I would have chewed that even better. I really wish I brought Assault Vest, but I'm a noob and did not. I probably would have packed Volt Switch on it though. But yeah, I go for Rock Slide here. And the only reason I ran Rock Slide over Ice Punch is it hit Thundurus and Talonflame, and I didn't want to take like Flame Body and stuff. But that Bronzong shows to be max defense, so I just go into my Rotom as he goes for Rocks. And from here I go for Plot. And the fact that he went into this and that damage tells me he is AV. And yeah, I have severely under-prepped for Assault Vest Galar Slowking, as I'm really just going to have to use one of my physical attackers to try and like break it open. But yeah, Rotom can't really muscle this. I didn't get a Para, which is whatever. So I go into my Ursaluna. As he goes for Future Sight, he has to scout for the Earthquake. I go for Crunch, expecting Bronzong to come in, because it was Fizz Def, so... but yeah, I go for a Body Slam here. I get a Defense Drop with Crunch, which is pretty big. But I knew, since I'm Spidef, I'm going to chew up any combo of hits from him. So I just go for Rest as he gets paralyzed. I don't know what he clicked there. But I figured at this point I can just use this to get my Rotom in, force him out so I can get my Rest off and be healthy. But yeah, I go right back into Ursaluna because he really doesn't have anything to punish this. He goes for another Future Sight, that's whatever. As I go for a Sleep Talk here, and as you can see, I'm going to actually get pretty fortunate with the Body Slam. It is Guts boosted, so it does a lot of damage. And I don't really care if he's Rocky Helmet, but I go for Sleep Talk again, and I get a Crunch, as he goes for Ruination. And obviously I take the Future Sight there, but I'm just going to go for another Rest here. This Mon is looking really tough for him to kill. He really can only pressure it with Urshifu, and then probably Body Press Bronzong, but he goes Urshifu, he doesn't TERA, as I go into my Enamorus, and I get some Rocky Helmet chip on it, which is pretty good. Helps my Revavroom late game. But he goes back into Slowking, and I just go back into Ursaluna, and yeah, I'm just going to click Sleep Talk this turn as I get a Body Slam. And from here, I figure At this point, I don't really want to take like a Ruination again and then be low. So I end up going into my Hydreigon here because he does have a feature sight up. So as you can see, I take the feature sight and that hit. I originally was going to click U-turn and kill this, but I didn't want to take Rocky Helmet, and then I would take Rocks, which might not be like in Sucker Punch range. Or yeah, basically anything. So I just went for Dark Pulse because I wanted to force a particular Mon in, which was the Urshifu, and I want him to Terra at some point. But here I just sack Enamorus. I figured he's just going to go for Terra Blast if he has it, which he does Terra, which is great for me, which means I can put pressure on him with Revivrim now. And you would think he would switch. He has a full HP Bronzong basically to kind of come in on this. Slowking could be whatever. I later learned, yeah, Slowking does retain Foul Play, so it could be that as well. So I figure at this point, I'm just going to double into my Rotom because I expect the Bronzong to come in initially. That way I can utilize Rotom, like get Rotom in, and I can start putting on pressure that way. Potentially try and para the Slowking down. That way I can put more pressure on with the rest of my team. Yeah, because if this thing gets paralyzed at any point, I can use that as a win con. But he ends up going for U-turn. So he stayed in versus Rev, which was interesting. So I had to switch out and go into my Ursaluna, and he makes a double. Once again, I get caught by a double by these offensive players, which is really annoying. He's trying to put on pressure on my obvious Ursaluna switch, which I had been abusing his Slowking all game. So it made sense for him to make the double. If I go into my Rotom here, I just have to sack it. And yeah, to me, I believe that was Bandit. I think that was Scarf damage to the Rotom. I'm not entirely sure. But I decide not to Terra here, but he is not Scarfed. He U-turns. Scarf damage meaning it wasn't banded. But I just go for a Shift Gear here. And at this point, my win con is to Iron Head him and hope I flinch him. Because I think at this point, if I do get a flinch, it's really hard for him to like revenge this. So yeah, I go for it. I do get the flinch, which is pretty pog for me. So I don't expect him to stay in, because if he stays in and I just go for like a neutral like Terra Blast Water here, which would kill him, since it's the same power as Iron Head. Gunk Shot kills Thundurus, Iron Head kills Urshifu, Terra Blast Water kills Talonflame, Bronzong. I could technically set up on again as well, or I can just start Terra Blasting him. If he starts Iron Defensing, then I would just go Hydreigon. I have Dark Pulse for that as well. So I figured it was fine. I figured he wouldn't. I guess he could have stayed if he does have Foul Play. Spoiler alert: my opponent said he does have Foul Play. So we'll see if that comes into play or not. But yeah, that's pretty bad if he just stays in. But I figured he might want to keep this because he can just come back in and Foul Play me again later, even if he sets up again. If I set up again, and he can kind of force me with like an offensive mon, like Urshifu or Thundurus, or even like Talonflame or something, to do something. So I end up going for the Shift Gear again. Obviously, I don't Terra because I don't think he's running Earthquake and Galar Slowking, but I go for Terra Blast, and as you can see, that does so much damage. And I go for Terra Blast. I two-shot the Bronzong, which is great. Now he goes into Slowking here. This actually dies at +2. It was the reason why I went for it, because if he swapped, I knew he'd be at like 76%. +2 would actually kill from this range. +3 is a roll to kill him. So I could go for Shift Gear again, expecting him to make the obvious switch. Probably sack Talonflame, expecting me to like hopefully choke and go for Iron Head. But I actually go for Terra Blast Water. I figure at this point, the Slowking, I was playing as if I didn't even remember Foul Play existed. Sludge Bomb does not kill me, so as long as he doesn't poison me, it comes down to like a Sucker Punch endgame with Urshifu, and then I kind of have to win with like Hydreigon Dark Pulse if I can or something. So I just go for Terra Blast. I killed the Talonflame, which I expected to come in as a sack, and then he does bring in the Galar Slowking. And at this point, again, +3 was a roll to kill. Does like 93 to like 100 something. So it wasn't a guarantee that I would kill him at +3, which is why I never went for Shift Gear there versus Talonflame. Plus, he could have been like Gale Wings or something. So it was just better to attack. So yeah, same thing I did when I was at +1. I just go for Iron Head, pray for a flinch, and yeah, we get it. So that's the game. Revavroom would have swept the rest of his team. I had Lumberry for T-Wave. Revavroom gets five kills in its debut, and yeah. So while the while the bicycle was a complete, utter, disgraceful letdown in this first matchup for us, the car comes through per usual. And yeah, so we're 1-3 in Shark House, and we'll go back to the little doxy doodles over here. Yeah, right here. Boom. So as you can see, we are now 1-3, -3, since we got a big 4-0 win with the cheeky flinches there. But yeah, we were like in last place at some point, and we just jumped all the way up to 9th. This is actually absurd that we have 8 people tied at 1-3, but we have the best differential somehow. But yeah, even though we're 1-3 on the dock, we're actually 1-1 +3 on our own accord. Thanks, Rai, for your awful record. But yeah, Revavroom is now in the top 6 of the kill leaders, which is pretty cool. 1 game, 5 kills. Hopefully we can continue to rack up the kills for Revavroom after its 10-1 season in the WPF. For me, yeah, that would be pretty interesting moving forward, how often I bring TERA Rev compared to hands. But yeah, as you can see, the people that are 7th and 8th are the 2 people we just played, so they're still above me. Obviously, we have a head-to-head on Rai-Cy. Masskeau has it over us. But yeah. But I decided to make some free agent transactions. So I'm actually going to pull it up here. So this is my team on the far left here, the Long Beach Ninkata. Sorry, I hate having that cursor in front of me. But we ended up dropping a Namorous. We dropped Hydreigon, and we picked up. Dropped a Namorous, dropped Hydreigon, and we picked up Lando I, Iron Jugulus, and Mischievous. Looking at future matchups, I did not like an Namorous. I thought Namorous was pretty bad into future matchups. And I figured with the way I was using TERA, I might be using TERA Fairy to handle some darks and fightings that I don't like later on. So I figured I might as well just drop the Namorous altogether. I didn't really need the Healing Wish or anything. Picked up Landorus. It was a better rocker, more reliable rocker than Hydreigon. And then I picked up Jugulus, has better speed. I've got better speed tier. And I kind of like the Flying Stab, which I didn't have initially. And it also gives me good utility, another knockoff user on top of it. Decent coverage as well, similar to Hydreigon. Not exactly the same, but similar. And then Mischievous, just there as a ghost type. I had 3 points left over, so I just picked up Mischievous. But yeah, this is the new team moving forward. Should be pretty pog. I kind of like Landorus more with U-Turn, with my Cyclizar, Rotom Wash, Jugulus type of core. So yeah, hopefully we can pick up some more wins throughout the season. I believe our next opponent is Ice Demon Gray, so we're gonna have to do what we may. But yeah, right now we are 1-3. I believe Ice is 1-3 as well, as you can see here. Probably do another 15-minute build before the game, but yeah, I've had a 1-0 loss, very close, and it came down to kind of just a damage roll, and then big win here with 2 big flinches from the car. But hey, when the car wants to win, it's gonna win, and so don't ever get in the way of a speeding car. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you for the future Trick House games. I'll probably do 2 weeks at a time. moving forward because I don't like doing one at a time anymore. All right, peace.